South African mining output has dropped for a third consecutive month. Now, this according to Statistics South Africa's latest production and sales data for the mining and manufacturing sector. Mining production decreased by nearly 2% year-on-year in September, and mineral sales decreased by more than 20%. We're joined now by Redge Nkosi, Executive Director at First Source Money. Redge, good evening, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We've seen this decline continuing month on month. Is this a surprise that this decline still continues, right?
No, not at all. I think the country has been experiencing quite a few challenges in the recent past, and I think those are the ones that are holding up right now, and we may expect this to continue. For example, we're having logistics challenges, Transnet, and of course the rail gets quite bogged down as well. The road gets bogged down quite well. But electricity supply, too, has been contributing quite significantly in this regard. However, while we may blame Eskom here and there, the demand itself has been cooling off in major economies like China and other countries that normally we do export these minerals and some manufactured goods.
We've seen this similar decline at the height of COVID-19. I mean, you mentioned issues like Eskom and load shedding at this point as big, factors that might affect this decline. But looking at that, what other factors are affecting this? I mean, that we once again seeing this decline that many are saying that we're likely going to see this going all the way to the end of the year.
Yes, most likely. But remember, we're buffeted by quite a number of issues outside of the three I mentioned: power, logistics, and demand, global demand. But remember, the country is also experiencing very high interest rates. These are not helpful for any one of the companies that operate in this environment. The cost of production is also going up, and you have to weigh all these things together to bring up to this condition where we find ourselves in a declining environment. And again, this necessarily won't stop here. And remember also, manufacturing has been declining as a share of GDP for quite a while. Well, the upsurges here and there, but the country as a whole has had its manufacturing sector declining over a long period in fact, since early 2000. So South Africa's environment, which in my view largely talks to the macro environment of the economy, hasn't been very supportive of our economy right now. Now, today, we're talking of microeconomic issues, which are the logistics and power. But I think the key origins of these lie in the macro side.
We've also seen seasonal adjustment mining production increasing by 2.2%. But also, if you look at the mineral sales, how much of impact does that make in that the current prices quite differ depending on where you look at? We're seeing 20.7% year-on-year September 2022, and we are still once again seeing that decline. How much of a role does that play when you look at the mineral sales and where we are right now?
There are going to be a number of variations right across the sectors, but you remember, when we're talking on mining broadly, that's the average. Some of these mining goods have actually experienced a positive outlook, just as in manufacturing as well. So it's not broad manufacturing sector as a whole that's declining. Some are, some are not. So there will always be these variations. Prices also are, not necessarily very, very supportive because of the global environment. So you're going to find all these variations. But on the whole, I think these two sectors are not helping us at all. So this picture is going to continue in the near term. And perhaps next year we may see some reprieve, hopefully. The global environment in Middle East and Europe are not supportive either. So people are jittery. It's quite tepid a market, quite frankly.
Do issues, Reg, like illegal mining have an impact on all this?
Well, Zamazamas, they may have a role, but, broadly speaking, these mining houses are well protected, I think. I do not think they can contribute significantly. I'm talking about the Zamazamas now, contributing to the challenges that we face. These are big challenges the country itself is facing, I do not think we can place a lot of blame or any blame at all on the Zamazamas that are around us. I doubt on that scale. I think we should focus our attention largely around that Eskom, Transnet, and of course global demand.
Are we looking at possible solutions then, in that if we're seeing this particular decline, and you did say that the market's a little bit jittery, but are we seeing positives as we build into the next year, with many pundits saying that, well, for the rest of the year, we might still see this constant decline. But are there any positives in the near future, right?
Right across the sectors, yes. We may see some positives next year. Firstly, we may see some interest rates moderating a bit. But again, depending on the outlook globally, because South Africa is well connected to the global environment, financial markets. So again, we can just hope that the interest rates will be a bit moderate. In terms of logistics, I see the intervention by the state and other players coming to play. This may support. Eskom, again, Eskom seems after this year, we may see Eskom coming to the party as well, and therefore we expect some room. But broadly speaking, it's going to be a very big challenge, I think.
In the bigger scheme of things, how does this affect an ordinary man on the street, as it were, the average and ordinary consumer, the ordinary South African? All right.
First, when we're having decline in manufacturing and mining, these are key contributors together. I think they contribute about 20% of the GDP. Now, when GDP is declining, what it means is that there is less and less economic activity, and less economic activity means less and less money, and less money obviously means some people may have to be laid off. So it's actually a very bad picture, very negative picture for the economy as a whole, employment especially. And the government may find difficulties in collecting taxes, which it depends on for the current functioning of it. And supporting the SMME sector as well is dependent on taxes. So the picture may be pretty horrifying as we go into the future, unless government jacks up, Eskom goes up online quite well, and Transnet improves, and also the Reserve Bank does its work properly. I think for now, it is also castrating much of the economy insofar as we see.
Redge Nkosi, we're going to have to leave it there, but thank you so much for taking time to speak to us.